Story 1. A few years ago, when I was 25, I worked as a delivery driver in a very rural part of the US. It wasn't unusual for me to get deliveries that took an hour or more to reach the customer's location. This specific evening, it was almost 9 p.m. when I was assigned a delivery to a house about 40 minutes away from our store. Although we were nearing closing time, I accepted it anyway, thinking I could head home right after. The order was prepaid, so there was no need to worry about carrying change or anything like that. As I made my way down the dark, winding back roads, it struck me how isolated this place really was. I pulled up to a long dirt driveway that led to a house barely visible in the distance. The house sat in near darkness, save for a dim porch light. I parked and got out with the food in hand. As I approached the front door, I knocked and waited, but no one came. After knocking again, I heard what sounded like a faint whisper from inside. It was so soft I couldn't make out what was being said. I knocked a third time, louder now, and that's when I heard it clearly. Someone was whispering, "Help me." My gut sank. I cautiously called out, asking if everything was okay. There was no response, just more whispering. I backed away slowly and returned to my car, locking the doors. I called my manager and told them something felt really off and that I was heading back. They agreed, saying safety always comes first. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror and saw a figure step onto the porch, just standing there, watching me leave. I still think about that night often and wonder what might have happened if I had opened that door. Story 2. Back when I was in college, I took up a night security job at a small office building to help cover my tuition. The job was mostly quiet, and most nights I had the building to myself. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and my duties included doing a walkthrough every couple of hours and monitoring the security cameras. One night I was doing my usual patrol when I noticed a light on in one of the conference rooms. That was strange, since I always made sure everything was turned off during my first walkthrough. I walked over to the room, and as I reached the door, the light suddenly went out. I opened the door and looked inside. No one was there. I chalked it up to maybe a faulty bulb or some power glitch. About an hour later, I was back in the security room watching the monitors when I saw movement on one of the screens. It showed someone walking down the hallway. I leaned closer, trying to see who it was, but the figure was oddly blurry, like the camera wasn't focusing properly. I quickly got up and made my way to that hallway, but by the time I got there, it was completely empty. The rest of the night remained uneventful, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I brought it up with my supervisor the next morning, and he casually mentioned that the building used to be a hospital in the 1960s, and several people had died there. I never saw the figure again, but I never felt fully alone during my shifts. After that. Story 3. I live in a fairly quiet neighborhood, the kind where nothing out of the ordinary usually happens. A few months ago, I was home alone one evening while my roommate was out of town. It was around 11 p.m., and I was lying on the couch watching TV when I heard what sounded like a knock at the back door. That door leads to the backyard, and we never use it. I muted the TV and listened, thinking maybe I imagined it. Then I heard it again, louder this time, 3 slow knocks. I got up, went to the kitchen window and tried to peek outside without being seen. I couldn't see anyone, but the motion light in the yard had been triggered. I felt uneasy but told myself it could be an animal. I went back to the couch, but a few minutes later I heard the front doorknob jiggle like someone was trying to open it. That's when I really panicked. I grabbed my phone and called the police. While on the call, I heard a tap at the living room window. I didn't go near it. I just stayed on the line until officers arrived. They checked around the house and found fresh footprints leading from the backyard to the front porch, but no sign of the person. They advised me to stay with a friend for the night, which I did. Nothing like that has happened again, but I still keep all the doors locked, even during the day.